Hey everybody, good morning. It's great to be back here in Hillsborough County. I have a feeling I'm going to be here quite a bit over the next couple of years. I'm joined here today by Commissioner Mark Glass from FDLE, Special Agent in Charge Mark Brutnell, who's the FDLE Tampa Bay Regional Operations Center Director, Captain Richard O'Connor from the Tampa International Airport PD, Assistant Statewide Prosecutor Deborah Bell from my office. We've got Sergeant Steve Gaskins from the Florida Highway Patrol, and Assistant Special Agent in Charge Micah McCombs from Homeland Security's Tampa Division. Florida's a law and order state. I think by now you guys know that. We've got a great governor who backs our law enforcement and who makes sure that our communities are going to be safe. We're going to do everything we can to put bad people away and protect our families and our children. Today's announcement is another such example of that. Today we're here to announce the arrests of 6 people that have been involved in a very large theft ring of rental vehicles. All 6 of these individuals are non-U.S. citizens. 5 of them have already been arrested and 1 of them is at large, but if I know anything about these guys, they're going to hunt them down. Today's announcement also reflects why we are such a good law and order state. You have various agencies here, many agencies, all working together with one common mission: to protect you, the people of Florida. So these criminal alien ring members, they stole nearly 50 vehicles. Many of them were stolen from rental car lots, but some of them, they would put trackers on the vehicles and wait for a family to come in, rent the car, and then they would steal it later. So just imagine you're coming in, you rent a vehicle, you're taking your family to Disney World or somewhere fun for spring break, and you get out and your car's gone. It's not going to happen in Florida, not in this state. So we're going to fight these guys. We're going to make sure that they are held accountable for their actions, and we're going to continue to be a law and order state. So I want to thank these guys for what they're doing here. There are a lot of states out there, a lot of jurisdictions that would provide sanctuary for these people, that would not detain them, would not convict them, would not hold them accountable. We are not that state. We're going to ensure rule of law, and we're going to get bad people off the street. So I want to thank all these partners here. I want to thank our Office of Statewide Prosecution for zealously going after criminals. I want to thank the federal government under the Trump administration for picking these guys up and working with us to make sure they get back where they belong. But it's not going to be running free in our communities. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Mark Glass from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Well, first off, I just want to say today is a textbook example of law enforcement collaboration at its finest. As you heard the Attorney General says, we work together. We check our egos at the door. There's not one agency that can do it all. And that's what keeps you safe in the state of Florida. We are a law and order state, as you've been told numerous times over and over again, and we believe it, and we live it, and that's how we work. So I'm not going to belay my talking now because I want you to understand what the concept of this case was from SAC Brutnell. But I do want to tell you that this went back as far as June of 2022. And why I'm telling you that is because it shows the tenacity of every person you see up here, that we will continue to hunt you down and figure your scam out and go after you and get you no matter where you're at. Understand that. So the one we're still looking for, we will find you. I promise you, we will find you. And the men and women that work hard on this, and with the Attorney General's Office of Statewide Prosecution, who are tenacious at prosecuting, we love you. Thank you so much for what you do for our great state. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce Special Agent in Charge, Mark Brutnell. And Mark Brutnell's team here in the Tampa Bay region is one of the finest in FDLE. And you know we do a lot of press conferences here over a myriad of things. But showing how this group worked and getting into a RICO type of state here of racketeering, of what they did, in watching these investigators and troopers and prosecutors go after them, and with the help of our local partners, we couldn't have done it without them. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Brutnell.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. We're going to hold you to that. I promise you, my team is very excited about you coming back several times for good cases. So I'm going to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this investigation, but let me first say It's complete collaboration, as the commissioner alluded to, between FHP, TIAPD, HSI, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, FDLE, especially FHP. Good partners for us in state law enforcement. So this group, it's 6 individuals that we know of right now. We still have further investigations to go. Started in the Fort Myers area back in 2022. They saw a big rash of rental vehicles being stolen from airports in their area down there. They identified 3 of those suspects, which all had Tampa residences up here in Tampa. So Fort Myers kicked the case up to us here in Tampa, and we started our investigation with the help of FHP and the partners that you see here today. Immediately we realized these guys were good. They were very good. So they had 3 methods, if you want to say, of stealing the cars. Option 1 for them, method 1, was just strictly brazen. They'd go to the airport, they'd rent the car, they'd drive it right out the door. They would take big, heavy blankets and put the blankets on top of the tire spikes. Off they'd go with the car. So after a while, they thought that might not be too smooth. They're going to get caught. They changed their tactics. Like any good organization, they change their tactics. They evolve. Like us, we change ours too, and we evolve. Then they would rent cars, and they would clone the key to the car, which is pretty easy to do, unfortunately. So they had a cloned key to the car, and we leveraged technology in law enforcement, and so did the bad guys. So these guys leveraged technology as well. They would place Apple AirTags in these cars, return the car with a cloned key in their pocket, and they'd wait for a week or 2. They'd know where the car was. They'd go see the car at a restaurant or a hotel or someone's driveway or an establishment, and they'd steal the car. Third option for them was, after they were doing that a lot, they thought, why don't we try this Turo thing? So they would pay runners a nominal fee to go rent a car from Turo, rent the car, take it home, again, clone the key. This time they realized Apple AirTags would attach to anybody's Apple phone in the area. So they switched, again, evolving tactics, to Samsung tags. This is where they got really creative. So at this point, they would put the car with a tag, obviously hide the tag in the car, let it go back, and then they would wait for sometimes up to a month. So the car would have several iterations of rentals, so they would not draw attention to them. And then at the appropriate time when they were ready, they would go steal the car. When I say cars, we're upwards of 50 to 80 cars. These are high-end SUVs. The majority were Escalades, Yukons, Suburbans, very, very high-end cars. So once they had these cars in their possessions, they would re-VIN the cars, and they would get clean titles through some associates of theirs. A couple of dealerships here in Tampa were involved. They also had some folks down in the Miami area that helped to do that, and they would sell the cars. Cash-only cars sell. So again, like any good business, they have options. If you want a car that's been straightly stolen, it is what it is. It's stolen. It's anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. If you want a car that's been stolen and it's got a good clean VIN per se, that's $15,000 to $20,000. Now their best package that they offered, probably the most security, I guess you could say, is a stolen car, a fraudulent VIN, and a clean title. That's going to run you about $25,000 to $40,000. They did this over and over and over in the vast majority of the counties here in Florida, but also multi-state. And again, it's cash only. We have an instance here where someone purchased a Rolls Royce for $35,000. Now, I mean, I wasn't born at night. That wasn't last night. So, I mean, you meet somebody in the parking lot and you're going to buy a Rolls Royce for $35,000 cash. There's something going on there. But these guys did it over and over and over until we caught them. With the help of the guys you see behind me, did a great job of catching these individuals. We have one that we're trying to convince to come in. We've talked to him. He's thinking about it, but we're tired of talking to him. So his name is Inti Alonso. If you know where he is, please convince him. He has an active arrest warrant. Please advise him to do the right thing, turn himself in. Otherwise, I have all the confidence in the world we will catch him. It's just a matter of time. But if he wants to make it a little smoother and easier for himself, please turn himself in. So that is kind of the down and dirty of this case. A lot of work went into this, a lot of analytical work, a lot of surveillance, a lot of technology, a lot of court orders. Our prosecutor from the statewide prosecution office was with us thick and thin all the way through. Again, collaborative effort. I'm very proud of the law enforcement agencies here in Tampa Bay. We work together hand in hand and produce very large-scale cases like this. You guys are victimizing citizens, visitors, tourists. We just can't have it. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Gaskins with FHP.
Hey, thank you this morning. The Florida Highway Patrol, this is a crystallizing case of partnerships we have between state, federal, and local law enforcement agencies. From the Highway Patrol side, this initiated from a basic traffic stop, what the Highway Patrol is out there doing every single day to ensure public safety. In this case, 2 years ago, a traffic stop led to a more in-depth investigation. And during that investigation, we discovered that vehicles were being stolen, VINs were being stolen, retitled, all those things that you just heard about. Once the two agencies realized that the cases were working together, we collaborated together with them, and we started putting bad people in jail. 81 cars recovered that are stolen. And again, our criminal interdiction unit with the Florida Highway Patrol here, especially in Troop C, Tampa Bay area, outstanding job on their part. Jeremy Fields, my trooper behind me here, was the person who started it on our end. And so those efforts that they do, they're very good at how they do these investigations and following up. And all that information led to the collaboration that you see that we're able to give you today. So unfortunately, we've had some innocent victims here where they bought cars. Again, like the SAC just said, if you're buying cars, we will take them back. So if you have a deal that seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true. So no cash offers. We don't buy cars in Walmart parking lots and so forth, things like that. If it's too good to be true, walk away from it. Don't be the innocent victim here, because you're going to lose out on that. Again, thank you for having us here. Thank you for covering the story, because all these agencies that are working together are making Florida safer and trying to put bad people in jail. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I got two more things I want to say. So first, again, you've got 6 criminals here, not one of them a U.S. citizen. This shows the dangers that have resulted from, the Biden, reckless border policy. Our state and every state across the country was vulnerable to crimes like this that put our families and our citizens in danger. So I'm happy to crack down on this. I love working with these guys. It's what makes this job so fun. Proud to announce again, as you've probably already heard, we are the first state in the country that has not only our statewide law enforcement certified by the federal government to have delegated responsibilities to help with ICE enforcement, combating illegal immigration, but all of our sheriffs are certified under 287G as well. So we're going to continue working together, and we're going to address this problem. I believe we've got the best law enforcement in the country, and that also means we need to pay them better. So I'm glad our governor in his proposed budget called for big pay raises for our statewide law enforcement. We've got a great state legislature. They've made key investments to prepare our state for future generations and leave it better than we found it. And I hope they'll come through for our state law enforcement as well. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Commissioner, I'm not sure if you have any time for more details of the case, but I just wanted to ask, A, how much money overall was taken in by this group, and then what happened to the cash itself? Did they launder it? Did you recover? I'm sorry, special agent, I'm sorry.
That's a good question.
He's good.
I'd say
He's the one doing all the work.
No, just these guys do all the work. Yeah, I just approve time sheets. I would say that there were upwards of $1 million at least. And the cash, that's a good question. I've asked my guys, where's the cash? We can't find it. So I don't know, just living a lifestyle, but yeah, that's a good question. We don't know where the money went. But we'll still obviously have an active investigation going. We're still looking at some things, some bank records, and putting things together.
And you say dealerships were involved. Can you just characterize whether these are like big dealerships?
No, they're not that. That's where FHP comes in. They're the ones that helped us locate those. And through,
what were the dealerships doing exactly?
they were helping organization with some fraudulent VINs.
So they were doctoring the paperwork.
Yes. And FHP has a great unit that does only that. And without their help, we would not be here today.
And these dealerships in Tampa, the city.
Yeah. In Hillsborough County. Yeah.
And these buyers know what they're getting into. I mean, if you're buying a Rolls Royce for $35,000, don't you know maybe something's a little bit suspicious? Are they going to be held accountable for being involved in something that may seem sketchy?
Well, I echo what the lieutenant said from FHP. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Some of these folks, yes, were innocent victims, but some, I'm sure they had an idea. If you're, to his point, you're meeting somebody in a parking lot of Walmart to buy a brand new GMC Yukon for $20,000 in cash. There's something not right there. So.
What's the next step in this process for these 5 men that are currently arrested? What does that process look like here on out?
There's 3 in Hillsborough County. I think 2 are in Pasco. the court process begins now. So they have a right to the court process. Once we get the sixth guy in custody, he'll have the same right. One is in Texas. I'm sure he'll be extradited back to Florida to be held accountable for his actions. And we're continuing the investigation. I'm still looking at other associates as well.
Attorney, I wanted to ask about the citizen aspect of this. You know, not being a citizen is different than being here illegally. Can you say whether there are people who are actually here without proper documentation, or are they just not citizens of the country?
Yeah, an initial review indicates it's probably a case of both with some of these individuals. We defer to Homeland Security in their database as to what the actual documented status is, so I don't want to comment on that prematurely, but it does seem like you've got a case of both.
Some of them are undocumented and some of them are citizens, not citizens, but here legally.
Correct.
Can you say how many which?
Not at the yet. Anybody else?
Airport police, I mean, were the cars being taken from the airport to rental lots? Is that why you're here? And basically,
Yes.
yeah.
Is there any indication that there were also personal cars as well? I mean, we're heavily focused on rental, but personal cars are probably easier to steal, I would assume.
The majority were rental cars, but there were some personal ones, but the vast majority were rentals for this group.
And how many cars did you recover?
81? 81?
You definitely got 80. You got 80.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Appreciate it. Thank you.